It starts with one part of the family, and then we see the breakdown of a family and families. The implosion of a community. We see hopelessness. We see mental illness, psychosis, schizophrenia. And the root cause of it is marijuana. It is a gateway drug. We work on prevention, intervention, and recovery. This is not a laughing matter. We already have a crisis in our families and our community, and the last thing that we need is to legalize recreational marijuana.
I cannot stress as a father, I do not want this for our community. We are at a tipping point. We have homeless issues, poverty, right? We have violence, we have domestic violence, right? People are getting hurt.
Yeah, cannabis is dangerous in and of itself. It can lead to schizophrenia in later life, especially if used in the teens and early 20s. Schizophrenia is incurable and typically leads to loss of employment and homelessness. In states that have legalized recreational marijuana use, the prevalence has increased to 21%.
The consequences are going to be much worse than the benefits. So what if we make a little money? If the kids are all messed up and they wake up and they can't hold a job and they can't drive, we're in trouble.
I can't understand any medical doctor thinking that it would be a good idea to legalize it.
This is a legacy legislation that is occurring, right? And all the sorries in the world is not going to make up for all the families that were damaged through recreational marijuana and its hopes of improved income.
Steve and I both went to Punahou High School, and we had a class reunion 2 months ago. I remember him coming to high school high, right? And the thing that struck me, him telling me, please don't let them legalize marijuana, because I got into it when I was 13. It ruined my life.
I was introduced to Pakalolo when I was about 13, which was way too young, way too young. I was very immature, not ready for something like that. And then my grades plummeted, and my relationship with my parents went downhill because I had to spend so much time in line. And I know people who started off with marijuana and then they died, overdose or misuse of drugs. They didn't know how to do what they were supposed to do to get high, and they killed themselves. It was very sad.
Very few meth people didn't start by smoking pot. I can't think of anybody I know that just went straight to meth. It straight up leads to harder drugs. Now, a lot of people say, oh no, I drink and I smoke a joint every once in a while, but I would never do anything else. Probably true for a lot of them, but not all of them. And not enough of them to justify legalizing it.
The thing with anything illicit, right? You're already dealing with impulse, you're already dealing with control. And when it comes to any drug, marijuana included, with increased percentages, the impact on the individual will vary based on their size, based on just how they were, how God put them together. And the repercussions for smoking high-grade marijuana can have long-term adverse impacts.
Once I became a meth addict, I lost my career. I wound up on the street. I was on the street. I smoked meth for about 4 or 5 years before I lost my job, wound up on the street. I was on the streets for 10 years. I lived in a tent on Diamond Head for 8 years. And then when I finally decided to go clean and sober, I went cold turkey. Meth is a really highly, highly addictive drug. Statistically, if you take 100 meth dealers, only 5 of them will ever attempt to get clean and sober permanently, and only half of those will succeed.
I'm the main physician here at this detox unit for homeless substance abusers and alcoholics, run by IHS. I think when people think about marijuana, they think, oh, it's somehow healthier than cigarette smoke. That's not really true. The smoke has just as much ash and carcinogens as cigarette smoke.
Children are precious. I mean, I have 4 kids and 8 grandkids. So, you know, I love kids, and to see them get corrupt is horrible. And it's a dangerous world right now. And to make weed legal doesn't help anything.
My name is Gary Yabuda. I'm the Executive Director for the Hawaii High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area, which is a federally funded program dedicated to fight drugs here in Hawaii and 33 HIDTA regions throughout the nation. Our job here is to make sure that the money helps federal, state, and local law enforcement work together and to form teams to fight drugs here in Hawaii, to go after drug traffickers. We want to target them, we want to arrest them, we want to prosecute them, we want to incarcerate them so they can't sell their poison, which are killing our people throughout our communities and our islands here in Hawaii. THC is a chemical, but there's an environmental price tag, there's a social price tag, and there's a youth price tag. The youth price tag is that there's compelling evidence that those users at 12 and younger have a 1/3 IQ lower level than the average person that doesn't use marijuana.
If you're under the influence of cannabis, your brain is not functioning properly. You're not going to think as quick, your attention span is not going to be as good as it could be. So that's going to impact your ability to learn. It's going to impact your ability to, and it probably will have some social consequences as well over time. So you know, there, and of course there's in the moment risks there as they're going day by day. Then there's also these longitudinal risks, right? If you're falling off the trajectory that you would ordinarily be on, well, there's long-term economic and social risks to that as you move in your 20s and 30s and 40s, right? If you got C's instead of A's.
Marijuana is the original gateway drug, right? As far back as you want to go, it is the original, right? Because people say it's natural, it's this, it's that. At the end of the day, it impairs you. And it, over time, can create long-standing impacts onto the way you think, which unfortunately will result in negative and adverse impacts financially.
Cannabis is a 14 billion a year industry. Millions are spent yearly on lobbying to increase legalization. So you'll see a lot of pro-cannabis websites spreading misinformation like it doesn't lead to increased traffic accidents. But a Canadian study found that being stoned behind the wheel can be more dangerous than driving drunk.
You know, I've seen people under the supervision of a physician get significant relief from chronic migraine headaches after they've tried a number of different things. So I think that like anything else, there's a time and a place. But to just have it open and available to the market, I think again, there's the individual health risk for adults that may not be fully aware of how these things can affect you. And then I think the bigger thing for me as a dad, as a child and adolescent psychiatrist thinking about brain development, brain function is there's progressive, at an increasing rate, there's more younger kids that would have not ordinarily been exposed or tried or experimented with it if it was not as available as it is now.
Our Native Hawaiian community already has issues with heart disease, right? Through poor eating habits. So, it's one of those things where I don't see the benefit beyond maybe a couple bucks, right? And when I'm doing my analyzation so far in my research, you got anywhere from perhaps $40 per capita, right? I'd rather just give you 40 more bucks if you guys need the money that bad, right? Than to adopt recreational marijuana, because I know the adverse impacts, not just to me, right? Not just to my children, but those that haven't been born yet, right? It's gonna be legacy stuff, guys. This is a legacy decision.
I saw the damage, and I know people who started off with marijuana and then they died from overdose or misuse of drugs. They didn't know how to do what they were supposed to do to get high, and they killed themselves. It was very sad.
We know that medicinal marijuana is legal here in Hawaii, and we accept that. However, don't see it as a money-making profit. It's not going to make money for the state. We're going to be overwhelmed by the social price tag, the investments that we're going to have to make in our institutions to curtail drug addiction, THC, marijuana addiction. The final one I want to talk about is environmental price tag. We have the possibility of destroying our forests, our rainforests, our water sources, our coral with marijuana illegal.
Let's not change it, right? I think that we're at a happy medium. I think medical marijuana provides an outlet for people that really could benefit from its medical benefit, from its medicinal purposes. And then again, let's just sit back and see what happens. In Oregon, the legal market is $1 billion. The illegal market, per their own commission, is saying that it's 3 times that amount. 3 times. So let's just overlay numbers here, right? They have about 3.5 times our population. So let's just say that the legal market here would generate $300 million. Let's take half. Again, let's just go half. Let's go very, 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 very low. Let's just say that our illegal market here produces maybe just twice as much. $600 million of black market money floating around just in Honolulu is going to create a lot of struggle for power. In the mainland, they have the Mexican cartels, they have the Asian cartels, you got your good old-fashioned American mafia, all trying to fight and vie. Do we want those individuals coming here to fight over the black market of marijuana growth here? I don't. And we got to realize that we have prime, as small as we are, land for growing marijuana. In Oregon,
what's going to happen is these growers are going to use illegal chemicals from China, for example, illegal chemicals, forever chemicals, to help fertilize their marijuana plants to mature and be more potent than ever. And they're going to use pesticides to keep the bugs away from eating their plants. And that forever chemicals goes into the water system in our soil, and it trickles down to our water sources that we drink, and also our coral systems where we rely so much on. That's all on stake. And we cannot let that happen, because once we lose our forests, our water sources, and our coral, we can never get it back.
Drug utilization and its distribution is a violent industry. So what we've seen on the mainland is you'll have legal grow sites, and right alongside you'll have illegal grows. And what will happen is those that are managing the illegal grows will either extort through some means the legal grower to purchase their weed, or to actually push them out altogether. And they're willing to do it through violent means.
If you care about our keiki, from Kauai to Ka'u, from Hanalei to Hilo, take a stand. E ola pono, do what is right. Aloha Hawaiʻi, Hawaii aloha, come together for our keiki. Click the link below for more information. Let's look kahi, lau lima together for Pio of Hawaii. Mahalo.